So the first thing I thought I'd make for Michael is pecan bars. It's really a pecan pie, but in bars, so we can pick them up. And it starts with about 20 pounds of butter. No, really. It's 1.25 pounds of butter. See how light it is? What I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a shortbread crust on the bottom of the pan, and then do that wonderful sweet caramel and pecans on the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is 1.25 pounds of butter, 3/4 cup of sugar. It's really just like making shortbread. I'm just going to cream that for about 3 minutes until it's light and fluffy. Okay, turn it on low. Just enough to mix it. You really want to start with room temperature butter, otherwise it really won't cream well. Okay, the next thing is 3 eggs. They're also room temperature. I think you'd be surprised how much your baking changes once you start using room temperature butter. Mine did. Put in the eggs one at a time. Just let them get incorporated before you put the next one in. Otherwise you end up with a mess. And now, 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And then while that's mixing, I'm going to combine the flour, baking powder, and salt. So I need 4.5 cups of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And just sift it all together. The sifting really just makes sure there are no lumps in the flour, and it combines everything. And now, very slowly, with the mixer on low speed, just put the flour mixture into the butter mixture. These are great for a party or for a picnic because you can make them in advance, and they transport really well. I'm going to dip them in chocolate. It's going to make them even better. Okay. That's the crust. The sheet pan and then pat it out with my hands. That looks like a lot of dough and it's just the crust. Okay, I'm going to flour my hands a little bit just to pat this out. It'll help much better. But it's a lot of dough. This is sort of the same kind of crust that you use for lemon bars, all kinds of bars. It's really good with pecan bars. Just make a little bit of an edge so that the filling stays inside. I love anything that doesn't require rolling it out with a rolling pin or greasing the pan. You know, one thing I really believe about being a good friend is being really flexible. And when Michael said he was crazy busy, I thought, why not just bring a picnic to the store and we'll have lunch while he works? This is going to be good. 350 degrees for 15 minutes until the crust is set but not brown. So the shortbread base is cooled and set, and the next thing I have to do for my pecan bars is the filling. It needs just a little more butter. 1 pound. Remember, it makes a lot of pecan bars. So what I'm going to do is cook a few ingredients together to make the topping, and then add lots and lots of pecans. Okay, I'm just going to turn that on because I want to melt it. Next thing is brown sugar. No, brown sugar is granulated sugar and molasses mixed together. And 1 pound is 2.25 cups. I need 3 cups altogether. And then this is about 3/4 cup. And the last thing is 1 cup of honey. This is really just the filling for the pecans to hold them all together. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is just stir it all together and melt it. And then I'm going to turn the heat up high and boil it for about 3 minutes so it really caramelizes it. It gets nice and thick. It smells pretty good already. Don't even have the pecans in yet. Okay, while that's heating up, I'm going to add 2 zests. So about a teaspoon of lemon zest. I love using zest. I actually think most of the flavor of the lemon's in the zest. So that's about a teaspoon. Just put that right in. And a teaspoon of orange zest. Okay, when that comes to a boil, just boil it for about 3 minutes. And it'll get really syrupy and thick. I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And 2 pounds of pecans. These are delicious. And I actually buy chopped pecans instead of whole ones. Why chop them when you can buy them already chopped? Okay, I'm going to mix that all together. Oh, it smells so gorgeous. Be careful, this is really hot. You don't want to get anywhere near it. And certainly don't put your fingers in it to taste it. Shortbread crust. I'm going to pour this whole thing right on top. One thing I learned is sometimes this bubbles over a little in the oven, so I put a piece of aluminum foil on the bottom of the oven floor. It's certainly easier to throw away the aluminum foil than it is to clean the oven. And just spread it all out. Doesn't that look delicious? Okay, all done. So into the oven, 350 degrees for about 20 to 30 minutes until they've set. And when they're cool, I'm going to dip them in chocolate. Those are good. I'm going to make some chocolate for the pecan bars. So I'm going to melt 1/2 pound of chocolate chips and 1/2 cup of heavy cream. It's a ganache. I'm going to dip the pecan bars in chocolate. You don't really have to, but I mean, why not? And 1 teaspoon of coffee. It's instant coffee granules, which really boosts the flavor of the chocolate. You don't really taste the coffee, but chocolate tastes better. Big spoon for stirring. So I've put this in a heat-proof bowl over a pan of simmering water. Just want to make sure that water really just simmers. And while that melts, I'm going to cut the pecan bars. Just do this really carefully because the knife can slip. It's just like brownies. The first one's always hard to get out. Doesn't that look fabulous? I actually think I'm going to make these a little smaller. I think they're really too big. So I'm going to cut them in half, and then we'll dip them in chocolate. They look great. Okay, got 4 of them. And then I'll do the rest later. It looks like the chocolate's just melted. Perfect. So I'm going to turn it off actually a little bit before it melts because the heat from the pot just keep melting. Doesn't that look good? What wouldn't be better with dipped in chocolate? Okay, I'm just going to get it all set up now. So what I use is the white paper muffin cups. Just going to flatten it out and then put the pecan bar on top. And then flatten it out. And this will allow the chocolate to dry a little bit. It's never going to get really hard, but it'll just allow it to dry a little bit. And they won't all smush together. Okay, first one. What's this? Just going to dip it right in. Just the edge. You don't want the whole thing. Just enough. So you get a sense of the chocolate. Right back on it. Michael's originally from Pennsylvania Dutch country. What makes me think this is his kind of dessert? How's that? Hi, Michael. Hi, sweetie.
Good to see you.
So I brought lunch for us. How's that?
This couldn't have been better.
Well, there's more.
More? Fabulous.
I think you're going to like what's more. Pecan bars dipped in chocolate. Help yourself. Oh. We're going to need a nap after lunch. It's really unfair.
I'm so glad you brought lots.
Oh, good. Well, customers will be very happy.